artists, we are starting our watercolor radial symmetry flowers today, and you're noticing it looks like I'm using a Sharpie marker, but I'm actually using the pen side of a Sharpie marker. Now what you might want to do is you might want to go with pencil first on this so that you can erase any mistakes that you might make or mistakes that you want to change or things you want to change. I'm starting off with a little circle. Well, as far as radial symmetry goes, we know that symmetry means equal on both sides, so radial symmetry means that it's going to be equal all the way around. So I have this little circle, and then I have what looks like it's going to be like a little petal coming off. Now, since I did that right there, I'm going to go ahead and do another petal that's the same-ish type petal right there. And notice I'm actually turning my paper. Instead of turning my hand, I feel like it's easiest to turn the paper. That's not the right way, it's not the wrong way, it's just a way to do that. And here we go. So that's not perfect, but I'm pretty happy with that. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do an extra little layer of petal right there, whoop, like so. So since I did that right there, I'm gonna go ahead and start to do that to all my other little petals. And so I'm starting another flower right here, and I might start it with the circle just a little bit bigger, and I'm going to make this one just slightly different than that first one. And notice how I'm making this flower look like it's going under this first flower right here. I know it's hard to tell when I speed up this video, artists, but I'm actually going pretty slow when I draw because I don't want to get ahead of that ink in that pen. If I go way too fast, then that ink is going to kind of get a little bit drier. Now after I finish my flowers, and I'm stopping right here with 2 just for time's sake, I would love to see you do 2 or 3, maybe 4, but you want them to be big and you want them to really fill up that space. So notice I'm doing my stems at the very end. My focus is not on my stems, my focus is on the flowers, so the stems are kind of the last thing I'm doing. Now I think I might want to go ahead, I'm not focused on radial symmetry anymore, but I'm going to go ahead and do some little leaves up. By the way, artists, one of my favorite things to do is to go sit at the coffee shop and to do these flowers. I could sit there for an hour and just sip my coffee, or maybe in your case it's hot chocolate, and just sit here and draw these flowers. I especially like to put them on cards that I might send people, little thinking of you cards or thank you cards, and people really, really love these, and it really is very relaxing to sit here and do this for so long. Now I've got those done. I'm going to go ahead and snap my little lid of my pen. Now if you did pencil first and then you did pen on top of the pencil, this is a good time to erase out any extra pencil line and put your name on the back as well. Now I'm going to go ahead using these watercolor pencils, and I'm going to show you just a few little fun techniques with these. Now what I'm showing you is not right, it's not wrong, it's just a way to do these. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to color in kind of right around the center area of this flower with this orange. And you're going to notice it's pretty dark where I'm coloring, and I'm lifting up my pencil and just fading out a little bit. So you might know some of this approach with some shading techniques. Now this is my favorite part. Now you might be using a flat tip paintbrush, or you might be using a round tip paintbrush. You might want to experiment with both. It's completely up to you. I'm going to use my flat tip paintbrush, but I'm using the tippy tip of that paintbrush, and I'm starting at the center and just grabbing some of that color, and then I'm bringing it out. Oh, that is so nice. Using the tippy tip of that paintbrush again, grabbing some of that color and pulling it out like so. Look, I'm not adding any paint to it. All I'm doing is pulling that color from that watercolor pencil out, and that is so, so nice. So you can imagine if I colored that entire petal with the orange, it would be a lot darker, but I kind of like leaving some of it blank and just allowing my paintbrush to pull some of that color from the center. Now you might want to kind of skip around because the same thing applies. When you get this wet paint next to wet paint, it will blend together and kind of run together. So you might want to skip around, just like you would when you do a normal watercolor painting. You don't want to touch that wet paint next to wet paint. So I'm skipping a little bit of space right there and getting this blue in here. And again, I'm still thinking about that radial symmetry. So what I do with one part, as far as the color goes, I'm gonna do all the way around. So since I started with this blue, I'm gonna put this blue on all of these petals going all the way around. And take that paintbrush once again, using the tippy tip, and I'm just gonna paint that blue all the way around. I'm painting on top of the watercolor pencil, I should say, and kind of drawing that blue all the way around. Oh, that's so, so cool. Let me show you another cool technique. I'm just gonna kind of wring my paintbrush back and forth just to get that color out. Now, what if I wanna go in some of these little areas up here? Now look, I'm just going with the water right now. All I'm doing is touching that with my water. Now I'm gonna have fun right here. I'm gonna get my orange again. Now these are wet, and I'm gonna go ahead and draw on top of them when these are wet. And wow, look how vibrant that color is. So all I'm doing at this time, this technique, is I am drawing straight on top of the paper where it is wet with my watercolor pencil. And that color is just becoming so vibrant. It's almost kind of like, feels like an oil pastel, the way it's just gliding on and the vibrancy of that color. I'm gonna have some fun right here in this little leaf. I'm not gonna make it a normal color. I'm gonna make it kind of just a fun, this is a blurple, purple, bluish color. It's not purple, it's not blue, I call it blurple. Now notice right here, I've colored in that blurple color and I've colored in that yellow. I'm gonna have some fun right here really playing with this. I'm getting this paintbrush with this water and I'm just painting over both of these. I'm gonna see what happens. You know, I think I'm actually going to grab my flat tip paintbrush and see if I can get it to come in a little bit more. Again, using the tippy tip of that paintbrush, I'm not mashing down, using plenty of water. Okay, there we go. So the edges, it's kind of starting to blend together just a little bit. I like that. And you can see that there's some kind of green starting to happen. This is not right, this is not wrong. I'm just having a fun time experimenting with this. Because as you know, our blue and yellow mixed together makes what? Green. So you can see all this green kind of starting to happen. I think that looks really cool. I'm very, very happy with this. I'm gonna stop right there because I want you to have plenty of time to do this. Focus on the flowers and the leaves and the stems. Do not worry about the background right now. Thanks, guys.